The Zephyrian maximum security detention facility hummed with its usual undercurrent of tension, but tonight felt different. "Guard Captain." Vextal clicked his mandibles nervously as he observed the surveillance feeds from Detention Block 7. The human prisoners, Adam and Kinza, had been surprisingly quiet for the past 3 rotations, which in Vextal's experience meant trouble was brewing. Adam sat on the edge of his reinforced sleeping platform, his weathered hands gently stroking something the cameras couldn't quite capture. Beside him, Kinza watched the corridor with alert brown eyes, her posture protective yet calm. The 2 humans had been captured during the failed defense of Colony Kepler 442b, charged with war crimes against the hegemony. Yet somehow, they had become the most requested prisoners for work detail assignments among the guards. "Sir," Communications Officer Zilrath's voice crackled through the intercom. "We're receiving reports of unusual activity in Block 7. Vextal's 4 eyes narrowed. "Define unusual." "The Korthak predator cubs, sir. They've left the research laboratory." A chill ran down Vextal's exoskeleton. The Korthak cubs were the facility's most dangerous specimens, genetically enhanced killing machines bred for the hegemony's biological warfare program. Each cub, even at juvenile size, possessed razor-sharp claws, acidic saliva, and an intelligence that bordered on cunning. The fact that 6 of them had somehow escaped their quantum-locked containment was catastrophic. "Initiate facility lockdown," Vextal commanded. "All personnel to safe zones. Deploy the pacification drones." But as he watched the security feed, something unprecedented unfolded. The 6 Korthak cubs, each the size of a large earth wolf, had somehow made their way through the facility's maze of corridors directly to Block 7. They moved with purpose, their bioluminescent stripes pulsing in synchronized patterns that suggested pack communication. The cubs reached Adam and Kinza's cell, and what happened next would be discussed in xenobiological circles for decades to come. Instead of attacking, the creatures arranged themselves in a protective circle around the human's sleeping area. Their predatory growls had softened into what could only be described as purring. "How is this possible?" Vextal whispered. Dr. Morthek, the facility's xenobiologist, appeared at his shoulder. "Captain, I've been monitoring the humans' biometric data. Their cortisol levels are normal, heart rate steady. They're not afraid." On the screen, Adam reached out slowly toward the nearest cub. The creature, a magnificent specimen with silver-tipped scales, leaned into the human's touch. Kinza spoke softly in her native language, and remarkably, the cubs seemed to respond to her tone, their aggressive postures relaxing further. 3 months ago, Dr. Morthek continued, when the humans first arrived, they were assigned to clean the research laboratories. I thought nothing of it then, but now, what changed? Vextal demanded. The cubs were newborns then, barely developed. Standard protocol was to eliminate them, but the humans, they convinced me to study their development instead. Adam said something about every life having value. Even predator lives bred for war. The security feed showed Adam producing something from his prison uniform, a small piece of synthetic protein from the meal dispensers, carefully saved and shaped. He offered it to the cubs, who accepted it with gentle precision, careful not to scratch him with their claws. Kinza began humming, a low, melodious sound that seemed to resonate with the cubs' natural frequency. Their bioluminescent stripes began pulsing in harmony with her rhythm. It was the first time anyone had seen Korthak cubs exhibit this behavior. Sir, Guard Sergeant Hixalon reported over the comm. The pacification drones can't get a clear shot. The cubs are too close to the prisoners. Hold position, Vextal ordered, transfixed by the scene. Over the next several hours, the facility's entire command structure watched in amazement as the humans demonstrated something the hegemony scientists had never achieved: genuine interspecies communication with the Korthak. Adam and Kinza took turns speaking to the cubs, their voices calm and reassuring. When one of the smaller cubs appeared distressed, Kinza gently examined it, finding a small wound on its forelimb. They're not just communicating, Dr. Morthek observed. They're providing medical care. Using torn fabric from their bedding and water from their drinking supply, the humans cleaned and dressed the cub's wound with the same care they would show a human child. The other cubs watched intently, learning. As dawn approached in the facility's artificial day cycle, something extraordinary occurred. The cubs began to retreat, but not in flight. They moved in formation, with the injured cub supported by its siblings. At the threshold of the cell, each cub paused to make contact with either Adam or Kinza, a gentle touch of muzzle to hand that spoke of gratitude and recognition. "They're returning to the laboratory," security reported. All 6 cubs voluntarily. After the cubs departed, Vextal made his way to Block 7. Through the energy barrier, he studied the 2 humans who had just accomplished the impossible. "How?" was all he could manage to ask. Adam looked up, his blue eyes steady. "They're children, Captain. Dangerous children, yes, but still children who needed kindness instead of fear." Kinza nodded. "In our culture, we have a saying, 'The measure of a civilization is how it treats its most vulnerable members.' We thought that might apply to all species." Vexatal's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. In his 40 cycles of service, he had seen the hegemony's approach to the Korthak program: harsh conditioning, fear-based training, chemical suppressors. The results were always the same: unstable, unpredictable weapons that often turned on their handlers. Yet 2 human prisoners, using nothing but patience and compassion, had achieved in 3 months what the hegemony's best scientists couldn't accomplish in years. As he walked back to his command center, Vextal found himself questioning many things he had taken for granted. Perhaps the humans' approach to warfare, their refusal to abandon their wounded, their protection of non-combatants, their belief in rehabilitation over retribution, wasn't the weakness the hegemony claimed it to be. Perhaps it was their greatest strength. The next morning, Dr. Morthek submitted a request to modify the Korthak research program. For the first time in the facility's history, 2 prisoners were reassigned from detention to scientific consultation, and in the research laboratory, 6 young predators learned that not all bipedal species were threats to be eliminated. Some were teachers, healers, and protectors, even when they had every reason to be enemies. The galaxy, it seemed, still had much to learn about humanity,